Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back for part two of how to make worship loops on iOS Garageband um, using the iPhone or iPad. What we're going to talk about here on part two is how to import a audio file like an MP3 or something out of your iTunes. Before, on part one, we talked about how to import like your WAV files for your Q tracks into your samples. Now, what I'm going to talk about is actually importing from the iTunes section for importing like a reference track or something like that directly out of your iTunes that's already on your phone. So, what we'll do, we'll start out by creating a new project, then just create new song. And then to create a new project, you basically have to start out with some kind of instrument. So for starters, we'll just start out with the smart guitar. And it automatically opens up to your playing view. So what we want to do is go to the arrange view here. Just touch on it, and it'll go back to your arrange view. At this point now, what you can do is over here in your sample section, kind of like we did before, just touch on it. And instead of saying going to Apple Loops or say your audio files where we imported our click tracks into, what you'll do is go to music. And what the music reads from is your actual iTunes on your device. So if you got downloaded music from iTunes or something like that, you can import them tracks in as well. So what we'll do to get started, let's just kind of start out making a loop. What I do to begin making a loop is import a reference track. So what we'll do, I'm going to hit cancel. Before we import a reference track, we need to know our BPM and we need to know what key it's going to be in so we can set up our tools over here. What we will do on this project is create the loops for the song Simplicity by Rend Collective. That'll be an easy one to lay out. So what you'll do, you'll click on your toolbox there and you'll scroll down to tempo and you'll touch your tempo and you'll just drag it to the BPM of what the song is, which I know Simplicity is in 81. So you'll just set it, then go back to settings, and then you'll set the key of the song. That way your smart instruments and all that will kind of sync up. And if you use any Apple loops, they will follow the key of the song as well. Simplicity is in the key of F. Then we'll go back. Time signature is in 4/4, so that's good. All the other settings we will just pretty much leave as is. Don't really need any of the other settings. So just touch away. And then we're back to the screen here. Now before you can import a say a pretty long sample, right now if you look at our arrange view, it's set at 8 bars. If I scroll left and right, pretty much the only thing is that's there is 8 bars. So whatever I drag into this, it's going to chop it off at 8 bars, and we don't want that. So what you want to do is click on the plus, and then it's going to drop down to where you can add sections of the song, which works great if you want to set up your sections like the verse, the chorus, the different sections of the song. But what we want to do at first is extend this 8 bars. So what you'll do is click on the 8 bars there, and not really sure how long the bars are on Simplicity. I have not counted them out. So the cool feature about GarageBand, it does have a automatic feature. So all you have to do is turn on automatic, and now whatever we import in, it's going to automatically determine the length of how many bars it needs to be. So you can just sit back and it's set to automatic. Now you can just touch away from it, and now we can import our our iTunes song. So you'll just click on your sample box again and go to music, and since I know the name of the song, we'll just go to the S's and find Simplicity. There it is. Now to get this imported in, basically you just touch your finger and hold it and drag and drop it onto the arrange view. So let's do that. Drag and drop. And it's as simple as that. Now again, you can use the pinch feature to zoom in and zoom out. Now if you notice, we have way more than 8 bars now, which is good. It's automatically, extended to the length of the song. It's still loading up, but now that it's loaded in, what we want to do is we want to turn our click track off up here, because we don't want to use the native click track. We're going to build our own click track, so you can turn that off and then just play the song to see if it plays. Excellent. So the first thing we want to do is turn that down a little bit. The first thing we want to do, now that we have our song imported in, we want to zoom in, and I'll go ahead and turn this off. We want to zoom in and we want to line this imported song up on our grid, because when we drop it in, it does not automatically drop onto the grid. If you notice, these impulses, they're not lined up on the grid. So what you want to do is just kind of zoom around and kind of zoom in as much as you can. Oh, don't need that. Zoom in kind of as much as you can. Now in this song here, he's kind of bouncing around on the click. He's not dead on the click the whole time, but you'll see some impulses ahead of it, some of them kind of behind it. But what we want to do is kind of average them out and get it as close as we can. So I'm just going to zoom in, and we'll just, to move these around, you just touch your finger and hold it, and then slide your finger to where it falls out on that grid. And I'm going to zoom in. Now something else I want to do at the start of this, I want to give myself 1 bar for a count. So his guitar comes in right here on bar 2. So that's going to give me 1 bar to go intro, 2, 3, 4, then fire, the song. So I always like having a count in. So what we want to do is we want to zoom in on these things. Now iOS Garageband will only let you zoom in so far. So I'm zoomed in as far as it'll go, and we'll just kind of skip around and check some of these bigger impulses and see if we can't get it pretty close. As you can see, some of them are ahead, some of them are behind. These here look like some pretty good ones to line up on. That's pretty close. See them there behind the grid. See if we can't meet this thing in the middle. Okay, and a great way to check it after you kind of get it to where you're kind of close. Now you can turn the native click track back on. Now that it's back on, you can just hit play, and you can see how close it is. As you can see, our marks, or the impulses, are lined up pretty good on the grid. So, and that's what we want. Now that we have that imported in, You can touch away from it, and you can touch back on your guitar track because we don't really need it. Touch it again and hit delete. Now we're left with our reference track. And that's pretty much it for importing a reference track out of iTunes to start building your loop. And you can check it again. Great. So now we're ready to start building our native click track, or not our native click track, but we're going to build our waveform click track, and also importing or dragging and dropping our cue tracks where they need to go. But anyways, that's part 2 of how to create worship loops on an iOS device, whether it be your iPhone or iPad. On part 3, we'll go over how to build your click track and not use the native click track anymore. That way you'll have an actual instrument track here that is a click that you can bounce out to use live in your worship sets. Well, anyways, thank you and enjoy. Look for part 3 coming soon.